A warning light suddenly appears on your dashboard. Maybe your car starts idling rough, acting strangely, or showing electrical glitches that weren't there yesterday. Instantly, your mind jumps to the worst-case scenario, an expensive repair bill and a trip to the mechanic. But what if there was a simple reset procedure you could try first, completely free? Many drivers claim certain reset methods can clear warning lights, fix electronic problems, and restore normal vehicle behavior in just a few minutes. So I decided to put several of the most popular reset methods to the test. Some produced noticeable results. Some barely changed anything at all. And one worked much better than I expected. The big question is, can you really reset your car and fix certain problems for free? Before we begin, it's important to understand that resets only help with temporary electronic glitches and minor system errors. They cannot repair broken sensors, damaged wiring, or worn mechanical parts. Today's goal is simple. Find out which reset methods are actually worth trying and which ones are mostly internet myths. The simple system restart. Modern vehicles are far more advanced than most people realize. Instead of relying on a single computer, today's cars contain multiple electronic control modules that constantly communicate with each other. These systems monitor everything from engine performance and fuel delivery to sensors, transmission behavior, and even safety features. Because of this, a small software glitch can sometimes cause strange behavior that isn't actually a mechanical problem. Think of it like your smartphone or laptop. Every now and then, an app freezes, a screen becomes unresponsive, or something simply stops working correctly. In many cases, restarting the device clears the temporary error and restores normal operation. Cars can occasionally experience similar electronic hiccups. So for my first test, I performed a simple system restart. I completely switched the vehicle off, removed the key, and allowed all electronic systems to power down fully before restarting the car. The entire process took only a few minutes and required no tools or special equipment. This method may help when a temporary communication error occurs between modules or when a minor electronic glitch causes unusual behavior. However, it won't solve genuine mechanical faults or failing components. The results were interesting. After restarting the system, one minor electronic issue disappeared and the vehicle behaved normally again. However, a warning light connected to an existing fault remained unchanged. My verdict? It's the easiest reset method on this list, completely free and worth trying first. While it won't perform miracles, it can sometimes clear temporary glitches before you spend money chasing a problem that may not actually exist. The fuel cap reset trick. This next method might sound too simple to make any difference, but it's actually responsible for countless warning lights every year. The fuel cap reset trick focuses on a system known as EVAP, short for Evaporative Emissions Control System. Its job is to prevent fuel vapors from escaping into the atmosphere. Modern vehicles constantly monitor this system, checking for leaks and pressure changes whenever you drive. Here's where things get interesting. If the fuel cap is loose, damaged, or not sealed properly after refueling, the vehicle may detect a leak even when nothing is actually broken. Once that happens, the computer can trigger a check engine light and store a fault code. Many drivers immediately assume something serious has failed, when the real problem could be as simple as an improperly tightened fuel cap. For my test, I removed the fuel cap and carefully inspected the rubber seal for any visible cracks or damage. After that, I reinstalled the cap and tightened it until it clicked several times, ensuring a proper seal. The entire process took less than a minute and required no tools whatsoever. However, many people expect the warning light to disappear instantly, and that's usually not how it works. Most vehicles need several driving cycles before the computer verifies that the leak is gone and clears the warning automatically. The results were surprisingly positive. While the light didn't vanish immediately, the system eventually recognized the proper seal and no new fault appeared. My verdict? It's one of the quickest and easiest checks any driver can perform, and it's absolutely worth trying before assuming the worst. Battery disconnect reset. Now we come to one of the most popular car reset methods on the internet, disconnecting the battery. If you've ever searched for ways to clear a warning light or fix strange electronic behavior, you've probably seen this trick recommended countless times. The idea behind it is simple. Modern vehicles rely on computers and control modules to manage nearly every function, and some drivers believe that cutting power forces those systems to restart from scratch. Think of it like rebooting a frozen computer. When power is removed, certain temporary data and stored electronic glitches may be cleared. That's why many people swear this method solved their problem. For my test, I completely shut the vehicle off and disconnected the battery following proper safety procedures. After waiting a short period, I reconnected everything and started the car again. Almost immediately, I noticed some changes. The clock had been reset, a few saved preferences were gone, and certain systems needed time to relearn their normal operating settings. In that sense, the reset definitely worked because several modules had clearly rebooted. However, the results weren't perfect. While some temporary issues disappeared, any genuine faults stored by the vehicle eventually returned once the onboard diagnostics completed their checks. That's the biggest limitation of this method. It can reset systems, but it cannot repair damaged sensors, faulty wiring, or mechanical failures. My verdict? It's a useful system reboot and one of the most effective free resets available, but it should never be mistaken for an actual repair. The ECU reset method. The final method is often considered the most advanced reset available to the average driver, the ECU reset. ECU stands for Engine Control Unit, and it's essentially the brain of the vehicle. This computer constantly monitors and controls critical functions such as fuel delivery, ignition timing, air-to-fuel ratios, emission systems, and countless sensor inputs. Every second you're driving, the ECU is making adjustments to keep the engine running efficiently. Because the ECU plays such an important role, many drivers believe resetting it can solve a wide range of performance issues and warning lights. However, there's one important detail many people overlook. ECU reset procedures vary significantly from one vehicle to another. Some cars require specific ignition sequences, some require diagnostic tools, and others use completely different manufacturer-approved procedures. For my test, I followed the proper reset procedure for the vehicle and then allowed the system time to complete its relearning process. The potential benefit of this method is that it can clear certain stored adaptations and force the computer to rebuild its operating data from scratch. In theory, this may help resolve temporary software-related issues and unusual system behavior. The results were impressive compared to the previous methods. The vehicle responded differently after the reset, and several electronic behaviors appeared to normalize. However, there were still limitations. If a genuine fault exists, the ECU will usually detect it again during normal operation and reactivate the warning light. My verdict? This was the most effective reset in my testing, but it's also the most vehicle-specific. When performed correctly, it can be surprisingly useful, but it should never be viewed as a permanent fix for real mechanical or electrical problems. The surprising truth. After testing all four methods, one pattern became very clear. Every successful reset had one thing in common. It only helped when the problem was temporary and electronic in nature. Whether it was a communication error between modules, a minor software glitch, or a system that simply needed a reboot, the reset methods had the potential to restore normal operation. However, none of them could repair an actual mechanical failure. That's the most important difference drivers need to understand. A temporary glitch can often be cleared because nothing is physically broken. A real fault is completely different. If a sensor has failed, wiring is damaged, or a mechanical component is worn out, the vehicle will detect the problem again no matter how many times you reset it. That's why warning lights often return after a reset. The car isn't being stubborn, it's simply reporting a problem that still exists. The biggest lesson from this test is simple. A reset can be a useful troubleshooting tool, but it's not a magic fix. Final ranking. Number 4. The ignition key reset. Easy to try, but the least consistent results. Number 3. The fuel cap check. Simple, free, and surprisingly effective in specific situations. Number 2. Battery disconnect reset. A useful system reboot that can clear temporary electronic issues. Number 1. The ECU reset method. The most effective overall, but also the most vehicle-specific. Final takeaway. If there's one thing every driver should remember, it's this. Resets are worth trying when you suspect a temporary electronic issue, but they should never replace proper diagnosis when a real fault exists. They can save time, reduce stress, and sometimes eliminate minor glitches completely. But if a warning light keeps returning, Your vehicle is telling you something important that shouldn't be ignored. Now I want to hear from you. Which reset method have you tried, and what results did you get? Share your experience in the comments below. If you found this test helpful, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more real-world automotive experiments and troubleshooting guides. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.